just you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 62, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books, double rainbow, all the way, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me today is my double rainbow co-host.
Oh, that's a double rainbow. Oh, wow. What? It goes all the way. It's on both rainbows. Oh. Whoa! Whoa! Sorry. Hi, it's Anth0z.
Double rainbow!
Double rainbow!
Yeah! Double rainbow across the sky.
Was that guy just out on his own?
I don't
realized,
know.
Like, he wasn't camping with anybody. He was just literally.
I saw an interview
his
with him
own.
once, and he said he promises he wasn't on any drugs or anything like that. He was just he was one of those people trying to live like a year out in the wilderness or something. And that just happened to be on this morning where he came out and saw the double rainbow, and he just kind of felt like it was this nature thing speaking to him. So I think he was just like really in tune with nature at that moment.
Cool. Good for him.
That video always puts a smile on my face. I love it.
That's cool. I like that.
Double rainbow across the sky. Oh.
Oh man, so much love for that rainbow.
Yeah, he loves it, man.
It's great.
Anth0z, how you doing?
I'm doing. How
Good.
you doing?
I'm doing as well, loving
Good.
life. Everything's peachy cream,
Ooh.
Everything's peachy cream,
Like the corn?
just like it. I love peachy cream corn.
Wait, that is, it's called Peaches and Cream corn,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Just making sure.
Peaches and
It's
cream.
not just a song for all you 90s pop heads. It's also a corn.
It is a corn.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm doing good. Getting through the whole coronavirus thing. Just
Cool.
figuring it out.
Nice.
And living life as I can.
As a can.
As a can,
You're living life as a can.
Some people live their doors as a jar. I like to live my life as a can.
Good. That's perfect. Did you just think about that? Like you just made that
I'm
up?
going through the audiobooks because, of course, I am of Harry Potter. So,
Oh, I see.
because remember my yearly thing. I've always got some yearly one on my list. Well, right now I'm doing my Harry Potter ones, and
Nice.
I noticed that she just loves to say that the door was ajar, and I'm always like, well, I was like, well, if the door's ajar, then
Where's the lid?
yeah, exactly. My brain's always every single time. Harry looked, and the door was ajar. I'm just like, oh my gosh! In the magical world, doors are jars.
I'm just imagining, like, that just being a dad joke on its own. I'm just being a dad. I'm picturing a dad narrating all of Harry Potter and just seeing how that would turn out, and
The door was ajar.
like every once in a while just stopping to make some sort of dad joke. It could be fun.
I
It
do
could
it
be
a
a
lot.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do that. Anyways, that's
Nice.
no. It didn't just come to me. It's been on my mind.
Cool.
Anth0z, would you like to hear a piratey themed joke?
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Yes.
How do pirates relax at night?
They anchor. They plank. Is that how?
I see where you're going. It's unfortunately one of those cop-out ones. They watch ASMR videos.
Okay. That's
I
okay.
try not to do those ones as much, but sometimes I just and we've had a topic on ASMR before, so I thought, you know what? It's sort of relevant.
It's relevant. Yeah,
I'll
there's a give and
Pick
take.
it. Was it my best?
ASMR.
No. But is it good enough? Sure. Anyways, welcome to episode 62. We got lots to talk about today, I think. I'm not really too sure,
probably.
actually. That was a bold statement for something I'm not even really all that sure
I mean,
of.
we can figure something out. We're good at that.
We could try to make it a big episode. Do you have anything for our segment of Ye Old News?
Oh, wait, are we skipping? Wait, did we already go through like us, like about us. What's new with you?
Oh, I kind of
like,
forgot about that actually. Yes. What's new with you? Let's do that.
Do you want to go first? Is anything new with you?
I don't have anything to talk about right now. What do I
notice you're in the dark right now. Do you are you out of electricity?
Oh, no. I have the light in the back of my office I could turn on, but it's just more electricity to use if I do that, so I just figured why turn it on? You can see my face. I'm highlighted by my bright monitors. I figured that was good enough.
Yeah, you look very cold. You look
actually, yeah, it's a blue. Yeah. And it is, this room actually is quite cold back here. And sometimes at work when I
it is the garage, right?
Yeah, it's a garage converted into an office. And then when I come in here to do some work in the middle of the night, I'm always like in my pajamas or something, or sometimes I'm just PJs and shirtless, and I come into this room to like work, and I'm like so cold. By the time I get back into my bed, it's like 3:30 in the morning or something, and I'm just in there, and I'm like an ice cube, just like in my bed, like
melting under the sheets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What have I been up to? Playing lots of games. I'm actually. It's nice. I'm getting a chance to catch up on some stuff. So
what are you playing?
A little bit more through Final Fantasy 4 and or 2, depending on whether you're from Japan or America.
Right.
And then also catching up more on Spider-Man, the PS4 game.
Oh,
which is nice. So when I started playing it, or when I played from where I left off, I was at maybe like 7% completion. Now I'm at around like 30, which is nice. Like I've been progressing a lot, and oh man, I forgot how fun it is just to swing around the city. It's just beautiful mechanics. I love it. It's just so fun.
I never beat the game, but I got I'm not gonna say all the collectibles, but I got like all the I don't remember what the collectibles are, but
there's like backpacks, and you can take pictures of structures.
I know I did all the photos and all of the, I believe it's all the backpack items. It's like random little trinkets and stuff that have to do with the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
I got like all those done, and I almost completed all of the combat areas where you just had to go and fight up gang members. But I couldn't complete them all because I hadn't beat the whole story, and I know some more unlock as I play this game. But I did like all of that, and the only reason why is because the swinging was so much fun. So I put on a podcast or two, and I would just swing and get all the collectibles, and it was just like I did it all in like one day, and it was just like,
I know,
it's so
really
much fun to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually really easy to get all the collectibles. So I got all mine too, and I'm only at 30%. So I feel like now the rest of it, I have to just play the story. I can't just go off and do my own thing. But at the same time, you can just swing around and do whatever you want. You're not. It's not a time-oriented game necessarily. So, I could just swing for days. It's just so fun. I love it.
Now I find, I don't know about you, like the combat in that Spider-Man game is very good. It's definitely very fun. But I really like the Spider-Man 2 game on PlayStation 2, and this game is harking back to that game quite a bit. It's got a lot of those features put into it. And one thing I remember from that game is I love the swinging around, but I didn't really like the combat as much. And that game had good combat as well. But there's just something about the Spider-Man combat, or maybe it's just combat in that superhero-y kind of style that I'm just not as into. And this Spider-Man game is pretty much the cream of the crop. It's like the best kind of combat you can get in a superhero game. But for some reason, I don't know about you, but I find that the swinging and the movement is like, I almost want more of that and less of the combat stuff. You know, when like, let's say you have to play a mission and now Spider-Man goes to like the docks and he has to go fight some guys at the docks or something. I don't really find that all that fun. Like, it's not, to me, that's not really all that interesting, because I just want to like race somebody, you know, or I want to like go and like wall run and like try to like do some intricate like skills as I'm like immobility, I guess, is more what I'm interested in. So I don't know how they could have done that in a superhero game. I'm not saying they should have done it different, but for me playing, I find way more fun in the swinging than I do in the combat. But what do you think?
I'd say I do enjoy the swinging more than the combat. In terms of combat, I'm going to compare it to just Jedi Fallen Order, because I found that the combat in that was a little bit, I don't know if the word is like choppy, but the combat in Spider-Man to me is a little bit more intuitive. Like it makes sense. Like I find you can have a better flow in your combinations in Spider-Man than you can in Jedi Fallen Order.
Right.
Now, Spider-Man came out a couple years back.
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order came out just last year. And off the top of my head, I can't think of the developers for each one, but I don't know if their choice of like their combat and motion is based on the studio itself, or just like trying to reach a specific feel for the game. But I do agree that in terms of Spider-Man, for the fight sequences, it would be nice if you could utilize a little bit more of the environment. I've gotten to the point where you can use a little bit, like you can bounce like off the walls, and you can jump off of enemies, and you can create different combos whether you're on the ground or in the air. You can start combos whether you're in the air or on the ground. Like there's a lot of variety there. But that's more like hand-to-hand kind of stuff, as opposed to, say, if like you find, unless I haven't unlocked it yet, but say if I wanted to shoot a web at a lamppost and swing around it and then kick an enemy. Like, I don't think that is there, but I think that would be a really cool thing to add to it and make me feel a little bit more like I'm using Spider-Man movement to actually defeat a character, as opposed to just like a strong man in a Spider-Man outfit beating somebody up. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I felt with the movement of swinging around the city, for some reason it doesn't feel like it's predetermined. It doesn't feel like the animations are predetermined or anything like that, even though it technically is. Like, every swing you do is gonna be, you know, Spider-Man swing 001 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever animation they've built in their modeling lab. But it doesn't feel that way, because you feel like you're much more in control with the swinging. And on the PlayStation 2 version, they actually went one step further, which I really enjoyed, which is R2 was your right hand when you swung, and L2 was your left hand. So you would interchange R2, L2 as you were swinging. Yeah. And I believe you could hotkey it to just be R2, like it is in the PlayStation 4 game. But in the PS4 game, it was kind of sad to see that there was no they called it manual swinging. And I was a little bit sad to see that they didn't do the manual swing that was in the original, because I love that, where you could just go R2, and you could do this cool thing where you could like shoot both webs, and you would hit 2 different buildings, and you could just kind of like suspend yourself in midair. It's just this fun little thing where you just kind of stay there, right? Because of physics, you would just kind of hang out. But regardless, when you're fighting and you're in the combos and just doing all these combos and combos and combos, I find really quickly it gets repetitive. And it's not necessarily bad. It is still fun to take down villains. But it's just that you've seen the same animations over and over and over again. It starts to feel like it is just that model you've seen in the lab. That it's like, this is combo 01 and combo 02, and you're just going to see a variation of that first and second one over and over and over again. And that just feels samey to me, and I don't know what that is, but just there in the combat, it feels like I'm seeing the same things, while in the movement I'm not seeing that. So
I think I can kind of get what you mean.
All that being said, I love the game. I think it's awesome.
Super fun. I'll just quickly run through a couple other things, because I wanted to mention my wife and I have been rewatching The Office. I think I might have mentioned this before, but so because we spoiler for those who haven't seen all of The Office but it's been a while. So we originally stopped after Michael Scott left, after Steve Carell left, and so we just stopped watching, and this was years ago, like when it actually happened. I mean, like in when they released it, when it was on air. And so we've been rewatching it over the past, I guess, few months or so, or we probably started sometime in 2019. So we're now finally, I think, in season 6. We just watched the Sabre episode.
Sabre. Oh man,
I just
is a part of Sabre.
Like, the show just gets better with age. I don't know. It's because
it does.
You know, it's they somehow, I don't know how they got away with doing it for so long, but you know, every episode there is some aspect of political incorrectness in every way possible, but it just lasted for so long, and I think maybe just because that's just what the premise of the show is. Like, they're not doing it as if like this is what it's supposed to be. They're, you know, they bring it up, they show it's awkward, and they'll call each other out, like the characters will call each other out for stuff like that, right? Like, you know, they are taking note that this is not a correct format or correct way to say something like this, but I think the way that they deliver everything is it's just so funny, and I can't get enough of it. So I'm glad we're rewatching it, and we will go past the point where, well, the point is to go past the point where Michael Scott left and see how the rest of the series goes.
Good. I hope you do.
Okay, good. Because I can see characters like Rainn Wilson's character Dwight Schrute. Like, I feel like him and Jim alone can have like good chemistry enough to carry a lot of the episodes. But even still, like some of the other characters that even if like they don't have as much airplay, they add. I feel like they add a good amount to just the whole dynamic of the work office space. And so looking forward to that.
Well, I'm a huge fan of The Office. I've been watching it since 2009 or 10 or so. Like, it was airing at the time, and not airing, but it was on TV. I mean, when I was watching it. And it was before the whole binge watching The Office kind of days. I used to have a website I would go to where we'd live stream The Office. And somebody would just live stream all the episodes available. We'd download them all, put them on a hard drive, and just live stream it. And I'd go on there, and it would just be me and these hardcore Office fans, just constantly 24/7. It was always going. And I remember at that time I got like my first iPhone, and I just had this thing next to me all the time, just always playing The Office. And this is just like, I like to think of it as a pre-Netflix age when I was just binging The Office like crazy. So
Nice.
I found it really funny when Netflix came out, and not when Netflix came out, but when I got Netflix eventually, and The Office was there, and everyone started to get into this Office streaming thing, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like now everyone's like experiencing this.
Yeah,
Like,
now you're like me.
But I knew at that moment I wasn't crazy. I was like, oh man, like everyone else is enjoying this too. That's great.
Yeah.
And there is so many weird things about The Office that seem to be true, but yeah, the later seasons I never liked back then. Mm-hmm. And as time has gone on, like a fine wine, it's just kind of aged well, and I've started to enjoy them more and more and more. And my fiance and I talk about this all the time. There's a few characters that pop up near the end of the show, and I've never liked them. They were always frustrating and annoying to me, and I always said things like, oh, once those characters are in, that's when the show kind of drops off for me, you know?
Yeah. Is one Gabe from Sabre for Saber?
I won't name names. I don't want to ruin anything yet. I'll wait
Okay.
until you're done everything. But
Sure.
what I'm finding really funny now is when I go now when we watch the show, like we're talking like I don't know how many repeats of this series I've seen, but it's been a massive amount of repeats now. Now when I get to these characters and they start popping up and I'm starting to really enjoy them. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I know how long they're there for, or I know what
Yeah.
or like I know what episodes they're a part of, and I start to
You know
really
what to expect from them at this point.
but I start to really enjoy what they're bringing to the table, and it's so bizarre. Now I seem to quote these characters near the end of the show now, sometimes more, and it's just a weird thing, but I'm
Nice.
starting to enjoy them more later on now, which is kind of funny. So I almost think there's no bad characters in the show. It's just better characters than others.
I can't think of a single bad character. I do know that, the first time around watching this, I was probably feeling the same way as you, that there were some characters that were like, okay, well, I mean, I guess they just have to be there to complete the cast. And yeah, maybe some I didn't like as much. Some were like, whatever. Actually, no, BJ Novak's character, like Ryan, I think I just never liked at any point the first time through.
And he didn't like his character either, which is funny.
Oh, he didn't?
Yeah, he always tried to write his character out of the episode, but every time his episode where he's got a lot of lines, that's an episode he didn't write because he would get written in to do more stuff. So yeah.
And was he producing it from the beginning?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So so first time around watching it, I was never really a fan of his. But I don't know, second time watching it, I definitely love what he brings to the table, and like how him being there affects Michael Scott's character so much, and how everybody else treats him, and then watching him go through all these changes throughout the series, and they're and thinking about just Daryl, just being Daryl, and just everything's so good. I love it.
Oh yeah. We'll have an Office episode. We'll have a full episode where we just talk The Office.
Awesome.
I could talk about it for hours.
Good.
Okay.
That episode is going to be really long.
It's going to be long. All right, let's move into our news. Is it news we still have to talk about?
Ye old news.
Ye old news.
Let's do it.
What do you got?
I got stuff. Do you got stuff?
I don't have anything.
Cool. My turn.
Go ahead, sir.
So, Mulan got pushed back.
Oh,
so
right.
It was supposed to be released March 28th or 29th, sometime a couple weeks back.
Right.
I think, or 27th, sorry. And so that has officially been pushed back to July 24th, as of now, anyway.
Right.
So we'll see what happens maybe when the time comes closer. If it's doable, then I guess they'll keep the date, but if not, they might have to change it again.
Yeah.
And also from Disney Studios, Black Widow officially has a pushed back a date, which is now November 6th.
Oh.
So much further. So I think originally Black Widow was going to be in May. What was it? Black Widow released May. Originally scheduled for May 1st release. Now it's November 6th.
Darn.
So
that's actually one that I was looking forward to. That last final trailer that you and I watched on the podcast a few back, like I really got into it then. I showed it to my fiance and she's really into it now too. It's funny, she reminded me there was a time when there was just like talks that Black Widow was going to get her own movie. I remember at the time I was like, really? Like, it's like, how is she going to hold up as her own character? Like, I remember saying, like, she doesn't have the I
the
don't know.
background.
Yeah, well, she just didn't have enough of a character to be a full movie character, is what I was feeling. And then when I heard it was a prequel, I was like, that's even worse. I was like, we're not even, because I was like, we're not even going to find out more about the Marvel Universe. Little did I know that I was going to get to a stage where I didn't want to know anymore. You know, like after Avengers, I'm done. Like I don't really want to know more. But now they've reeled me back in with this movie that's like, oh, you don't got to care about any of that. Like this is its own thing. It's literally just like its own like single story contained universe. And they blew me away because they made it more like Winter Soldier. So now I'm just like, oh man, I'm like, she was right. My fiance was right the whole time.
Oh, that's true.
So it
does kind of look like that.
It's very Winter Soldier-y. Like I think they're going right back to the roots on that, and it looks great. So I'm excited.
Cool. Well, keep waiting.
I know. Unfortunately, November.
That
Does suck. But you know what? At the end of the day, I mean, one of my buddies works on all like the animation and the finishing effects for a lot of these films. And they're just swamped with work right now, and like they're all trying to work from home and get it done, but it just delays a lot of the projects and such. And he was talking about how frustrating it can be. So it's like from his point of view, he's like, I'm glad that we've got some of these delays happening because it gives them more time to be able to work on these movies. Otherwise, we just get rushed movies, rushed product in the end. So it sucks that it's delayed, but it's going to be for the greater good, as they say.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, hope your buddy doesn't stress out now that he's got a little bit more time. I mean, hard to say like exactly how that time will be played out because then it's also about how management decides to use that time as well.
Of course,
right? Like, how they set their little minor deadlines. But anyways, looking forward to that. So, how many months away is that? We're in month 4. That's so 7. So we're half a year away now, where we would have been a month away.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, like, I'm at the stage now where I'm not lining up for these things anymore anyway, so even if I was, like, super excited about it, it's rare that I'm going to be there day one for something, so...
right. Yeah.
So because, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I can definitely put it off for a few more months. Not that this is a big one, but Frozen 2 I still haven't seen. And,
I haven't.
And it's been available for so long.
I don't think I'm going to see that.
Oh, why is that, anyways?
Okay, so the first movie, it didn't really grab me that much, and I don't know if it's because it's if it's like the concept of it or the story itself or the characters. I don't know. Like I probably enjoyed it a little bit while watching it, but it wasn't anything where like I couldn't really connect with any character like on such a level that I was really enjoying what like their journey in the story or interactions between characters. Like for me, I was never really like nothing grabbed hold of me.
Right.
I can't say exactly why that is, and so I just figured, usually when it comes to part 2, like the sequels, they tend to be even worse.
Yeah.
In my experiences.
True. Yeah.
Wait, was Frozen 2 even in theaters? I think it was.
Yeah, it was in theaters. Yeah. It just released early though on Disney Plus for the whole coronavirus thing. I think it was for parents because they have all their kids at home and stuff.
Okay. I remember watching the trailer. Actually, the first teaser. The teaser almost kind of grabbed me because it was wait, which one's the Elsa? So Elsa was like she's on a beach or something, and then she starts running on the water. But it's a little bit more mysterious because she's like running into like waves, and it's like she's trying to get through them, or she's trying to test something. She's trying to accomplish something, but you don't know what. So that I kind of like that. I like that idea. Like, okay, cool. So now I feel like it's a little bit more than just like what's happening in the castle or something. There's more to it outside. But then they showed I think whatever they revealed in the next trailer. I don't know. It almost took away from everything that I was so intrigued about from the teaser. And so I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this now. So.
Yeah. I do recall there was one trailer that I didn't like at all, and it made it seem like a superhero film. It was really weird. I remember telling my fiance, I was like, this looks like superheroes for girls, like, like Frozen. And I was like, that's not really... But what's funny is I never liked the trailer for the first Frozen either, though, and I didn't want to go see it. And when I saw it, I loved it. But it got me on the musical side. Like, I love musicals, and Frozen it reminded me of Wicked, which my fiance and I really liked that play. And so it seemed a lot like Wicked to me, and it has Idina Menzel in it as well, so it's for good reason it seems like Wicked. And the plot's fairly similar, and so it got me on that level. But then it also was like, I just love that Disney's going back to like this kind of musical route, and I was kind of like really excited with the first Frozen on what that could mean for Disney. And I was like, well, if this is so well done, maybe they could do like another one that I'm gonna like. Maybe there's gonna be something on par with like like the Hercules movie back in the day. You know, like there might be
yeah.
something like that's more boyish that I might like a little bit more, but still in the musical kind of fashion. So I was excited. I was really excited. But then, yeah, these days it's funny how it is just Frozen 2. Like there was just a sequel to it. That's all there really was. You know, there was Tangled and then Frozen and then Frozen 2, which is kind of frustrating. It's like I really like Tangled. But then for some reason
I like Tangled, yeah.
I think Tangled was really good, but then Frozen got like all the limelight, and then now there's a Frozen 2, and it's like, oh, I really wish they just moved on and did something new again.
Yeah, like Melted.
Tangled, Frozen, Melted,
Untangled.
Unfrozen,
Knotted. Thawed.
Okay, let's do you have any other news?
This one last thing, and this will kind of be related to my topic, so I'm gonna send it to you now. Just because I just want to mention it now because it's pretty funny. So it's a bunch of tweets where it's a chain of tweets, people realizing what their partners are like when they're at work, which they wouldn't have ever known because like until now now that their partners are actually working from home. So let's see, I'm not sure if this is the very first tweet that started it, but so I'll just read a few of them just so that the audience gets an idea. But okay, so this one tweets, a funny thing about quarantining is hearing your partner in full work mode for the first time. Like, I'm married to a quote unquote let's circle back guy. Who knew? So yeah, that would never come back. It would never come up in like casual conversation at home, right? Like, honey, what do you want for dinner? You know what? Let's circle back to that. Okay, so next one. My wife works from home full time, but I remember the day I realized she was the one more question person at the end of meetings. I was shook. Next person said, I'm married to, just to clarify. So that's me. I do that all the time. Yeah. I clarify just because, like,
I say that one. I think I got it from you, to be honest. I think you're the first person I ever heard say it, and I think I got it from you.
Oh, sorry. It's because, like, sometimes, like, I have a lot of questions, so I'll get a lot of information for my answers, but the thing is, like, things can be misconstrued so easily, so I want to make sure I got all the information right, so I have to clarify, like, is this what you said?
Yeah.
Because I want to know that I got it right. What else is there? Okay, I'll just read it. This is the last one. Oh, no, two more. Mine said, why don't we table that and revisit in a couple days? Who the F is he? We've never tabled a damn thing and revisited anything in our entire 36-year marriage. That's really funny.
He's
okay,
smart,
this is the last one. So last one. My husband is pleasant and patient on the phone. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I know him as the guy who can't sit still at red lights and won't buy more than 3 groceries at a time. WTF, why can't I have that patient guy? So anyway, that's just a taste of stuff like that. So I suspect a lot of people are going through similar things at home, noticing what their partners or spouses are like.
That's funny.
Like their work alien, or no, what would we call it? Like their work guys, I guess you'd say.
I should ask my fiance about that because I have been doing some work from home. Not all the days of my week, but like 2 or 3 days of the week I work from home now. I wonder. I'm sure she can hear when I'm talking to people on the phone. I wonder what she thinks about it.
Just to clarify, was that function? Was that an if else or was that a...
There's probably something that I say that she's like I can't believe you say that or something. I'm sure there's something I say. That's funny. All right, Anth0z, let's move into topic number 1. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Okay, I'm gonna take topic number 1 because you took topic number 1 last time. So
sure.
My topic number 1 is gonna be Anth0z.
It's gonna be me.
It's gonna be you.
It's gonna be me.
It's gonna be me. What is your... Okay, this is the topic. Name off the top of your head, whatever you can think of, what is the best book to TV movie adaptation you've ever seen?
Book to TV, so not film, not movie, but...
No, book to TV/movie.
Oh, okay.
So either film or television. What's the best book you've seen adapted to the screen?
Do comic books count as books?
Sure, yeah. I'll allow it.
Okay. X-Men animated series, like the 90s
Oh wow,
version.
that's interesting.
For comics to TV show.
I like that.
That's one that jumps. Oh no! Oh my! I just thought of something way better.
God.
Okay, but this is to the TV show and not the movie.
Okay.
But Tintin, like the books and comics, to TV, like cartoon. Those were spot on. Those were so good.
I used to watch Tintin cartoon movies all the time, and in fact, actually, cartoon show. I actually liked the Tintin movie because it reminded me of the cartoon show. Like,
I think they did a good job. Yeah,
it was a pretty good job. It was just the animation's a little jarring, but honestly, it's good though. Like
it's because movie. it's like it's a weird kind of realism CGI, right?
Yeah,
but it's a realism cartoon. So it's like you know, in that episode of wait, was it an episode or the movie? Like, there's an episode where Homer Simpson, like when the Simpsons become like they go into real life or something, but they're still like CGI animated kind of thing.
Is the one where Homer's 3D?
Yeah. It's kind of like that. Like it's really weird to look at.
Yeah,
right.
It is strange and jarring, but it's good at the same time. Like it's like the Peanuts movie. If you saw that, it's like the Charlie Brown movie.
I didn't actually watch it.
And like the CGI in that is like really good. But it's like trying to also be that Charlie Brown style, and they did it better in that, I think, than the Tintin movie did. If they were trying to make it look like the original, but both movies are still good movies, and they actually both still invoke their original property. So, but regardless, I agree with you though. I think the Tintin cartoon was really good.
I don't know what it is about it. I think voice actors for one were really well done. The stories themselves were pretty much, from what I remember, they were like straight adaptations of what they were in the comics or the books or graphic novels, however you'd say it. So there wasn't really much of any kind of separation in terms of like what the characters were doing in the print versus cartoon, or like what the concept of the stories were. Like everything was just like straight to fit, and I really enjoyed watching those. Actually, I think I started watching them before reading them, and I didn't realize that they were adapted from books. And then all of a sudden, like the next year, I went to my grade 3 class, and then my teacher had a bunch of Tintin books, and I'm like, "Whoa, they're cool. Real!" and read them. And so I was so happy that I could actually like read them too and relive what I couldn't watch on the TV if it wasn't available at the time. So, yeah. So
cool.
that's one that jumps to my mind anyway.
Yeah.
How about you?
Tintin, that's a good one. I don't know. Best adapted book to movie? Sad as it is, I'd probably pick Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't want to be boring, but honestly, it is a pretty good adaptation. It's good in the sense that it's not necessarily replicating everything from the books, and it's not trying to. It's just trying to tell the same story in a different way. So they rush a lot of stuff in the movies, but they also have the characters in the story rush it. So therefore, it feels like a very well-paced movie, and it ends up working really well. Meanwhile, the books are very slow-paced on purpose. So it is different than the source material, but they do it in a way where it still tells you the same story by the end of it. So somebody who's only watched the movie and somebody who's only read the book can still talk about the characters and still have a conversation. Right. I think that's very well done. So for me, it's probably Lord of the Rings. I do think the Game of Thrones season 1 is very good as being an adaptation from a book, but I don't like the other seasons in Game of Thrones as well as the first season of Game of Thrones. So I feel like they kind of lost a little bit there. And maybe that's a part of the book's fault and not necessarily the show, and vice versa. I'm not really too sure. But all I know is Lord of the Rings, it feels consistent the whole way through, and that's good.
I'm surprised you didn't say Harry Potter, because I'm sure you mentioned before that
I don't think the movies are that great of an adaptation of the books, to be honest.
Okay.
I think we've talked about that before when we had our Harry Potter series, but it's I don't know. I like the Harry Potter movies. They're not necessarily bad in any way. They're very good, actually. It's just as adaptations of the books, there's a lot that they either do differently, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. Intentionally screw up.
There's a lot. Well, there's also a lot of content that they would have to try to fill in, and
it's not even that though. It's really like difficult. Characters that they mess up. Like my biggest frustration is Ron, and we've talked about that so many times now. But it's just Ron Weasley is a totally different character in the books than he is in the movie, and it's literally like lines they take away from him in the movie and they give to other characters, and it's like on purpose they're trying to make him a different character, and I don't know why. So it's that frustrates me.
Right. Yeah. I think I know what you mean. I think we might have. maybe when we had the conversation, what I recall now is we like the most truest adaptation, or at least like the one we enjoyed the most. At least I really liked the Half-Blood Prince, and I think that might have been one of your favorites.
It is a pretty good adaptation, and that is one of the best books. But yeah, I think that movie was well done. I still think the first movie is probably the closest to the books. The first movie and the first book are very close, and in fact, actually, the second movie is also very close to the second book. But I have a bit of a bias. I really like Chris Columbus as a director for the Harry Potter series. The first two movies to me just feel like Harry Potter. They feel like the books, and I love the sets. All the set design to the first two movies just feels like how it is in the books, especially the Chamber of Secrets itself. That set is like exactly how J.K. Rowling wrote it in the book. It's like it really just came to life. It's very well done.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there's actually a follow-up to this. Now that you've named
worst adaptation,
your best book to movie adaptation, what's the worst book to movie adaptation you've ever seen? The worst.
I did mention this before, that I think we did talk about it briefly, because it's about Ready Player One.
Oh,
because like I think, wait, did you read the book or did you do the book?
Well, no, sorry, I've only gone through audiobook.
Okay, but still, I mean, you get the exact same.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much experience.
Yeah, I've done it many times now. I can tell you a lot about Parzival.
Perfect. So that's the thing. Like, I find that I don't know, something about like in the book, he's much more charismatic.
Oh, for sure. And his relationship with Ace is way more profound, like, genuine, in the books. Yeah.
Profound. Yeah, profound is a great way to put it. Yeah, for sure. Like there's so much more like hesitancy with him being close to, I guess, like almost anybody in the movie, but also in the movie, you know, they really picked apart pretty much every single task that they have to do to get a key.
Yeah.
So it's all completely different.
Yeah.
There might be one or two things that are similar, but for the most part, like that whole first race does not take place whatsoever.
It's so weird. And like I understand what they're trying to do. Almost like I was saying with Lord of the Rings, they were trying to tell you the same story, just in a faster way, in a different way, but still tell you the same story as what you got in the books.
And they also want to be more. They want to utilize things that are more visual.
Yeah.
Like visually representative of what you can do in that world. Right?
I don't know. It's so different that as a book reader watching the movie, you're just disappointed that you're not seeing what you want to see. Obviously,
that's why I think the way I stated it was it's the worst adaptation, but still as a movie on its own. Like if I had not read a book regarding, like if I had not read the book about that, if I just watched the movie, or if there wasn't a book that was ever created, watching that movie just on its own, like as a standalone thing, I did enjoy it. And I would probably enjoy it more, had there not been a previously made or previously written book that already had a whole bunch of things in place for the story, which I enjoyed much more than the movie.
Right.
So, I'd say worst adaptation, but still a good job making a movie that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a funny thing, too. So, I look at it through the lens of a book reader, so it is hard to watch that movie without judging it on that. My fiance just recently watched Ready Player One though while I was away, and so I asked her, because she's already seen it, but I asked her, I was like, so what'd you think about it the second time? Because she saw it in theaters with me, and we both kind of had a lot of opinions on it. But this was on her own completely, and she just watched it on Netflix sometime. And I was like, what'd you think of it? And she's like, you know what, it's actually not bad. And I was like, it isn't bad. Like that's the funny thing about it. It's not actually bad. It's just my expectations were so shot by the end of it that it's hard to really enjoy any of it, and it feels so rushed. When you've got Dio and Shoto, and their characters are so lost in the movie. Like I don't even think they have Dio and Shoto. I think they only have Shoto in the movies. But like in the books,
do they not?
I feel like they've only got the one kid. In the books, their storyline plays a huge role in the whole Gunter's kind of like adventure, and like everybody trying to get to the key.
Yep. There's three keys, and then they want to the Easter egg is like ultimately what they're
when the book's really ramping up though and getting near like a closure. There's a large plot. There's a large plot twist that happens with Dio and Shoto, and it's really important for Parzival's character, and Parzival's kind of wrapped up in it, and it's really interesting. And the book or the movie just totally like throws all that away. Like that there might be like a scene where they sort of mention it, but you wouldn't even care because you barely know these characters. So there's definitely a way to tell it, but they didn't tell it. Honestly, I this is gonna probably be a very controversial opinion. Well, maybe not. It's Ready Player One, so who cares? But I feel like it would have been better if they actually made it a trilogy. Now I know it's one book, but I feel like you could have added in so much culture into it that you could have made each key like its own sort of like quest movie-esque kind of thing. And it would have been very Harry Potter-esque, I think. With each one being just like a different item that they're trying to get. And you could have, I think they could have padded it out and maybe added stuff that's not in the books if they wanted to. Like they did a race instead, and maybe the race wasn't such a bad idea, but they could have maybe then gone to the joust kind of segment that was from the book and gone through a more interesting thing like that after the race or something. I'm not sure, but I would like to know more about Ludus and his school and all that happens in the books, and gone more into like the actual culture there, because the books kind of try to tell you a lot. Well, the movies could have shown us a lot of what the book was trying to tell us, and I think that could have been better. So maybe it would have been boring. Maybe it'd be better as a TV show. I don't know. But the movie was way too rushed to be able to tell us the same story as Ready Player One, the book.
Yeah, I still attribute that to the whole idea that, like, you know, all the references and all of the, or any kind of, like, pop culture thing that appears in the book, you know, they want to find, I would assume that the producers and directors would want to find the best visual representation of those things. And what only way can you show that? By literally just like putting a bunch of characters in one scene, right? And then that's kind of your quota. I mean, it would be nice if just like there's like kind of slow reveals, like you see one character here and then later on you see another character here. But you know, as soon as Parzival enters that world, you literally see like 1,000 different people from all sorts of different genres. Like you'll see, I think you see Sonic, maybe you see Pac-Man, I don't know, I think you see Freddy, like you see like all these different characters, and then that kind of, then you're kind of just over the novelty now. Yeah. And now for the rest of it, you're just watching the story unfold. Yeah. But part of what really made the book, at least for me, like enjoyable, was every once in a while you would get some semblance of that reference that brings you back all over again, like that hits you with that nostalgia. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, cool, I remember this. And then they go off and start referencing more things, or go off a little bit more with the story. And then there's another reference. It's like, oh yeah, there's that too. And so you're always, I'm finding with the book, you're always getting, it's almost like you're always climbing. You're always moving forward towards more things that make you feel good, or remind you of something that brings you joy. Whereas in the movie, it's strictly just, okay, here's all the things that you like in the first like 20 minutes, boom, good, all right, now this is how we get all the keys and this is what happens. So it's almost like a too much of a very structured based kind of movie. I don't know, so I didn't mean to go off on this like, no, it's totally fine. I was trying to justify this whole version.
I agree with what you're saying. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, it's fine. Yeah, and I agree with you though. I do think that is a bad adaptation, and yeah, it's a bad adaptation, but it's still not a bad movie. So I think it's interesting. Yeah. But it definitely makes sense for this category. I agree with your decision. For mine, just before I say mine, I do want to say runner-up for best adaptation for book to film. One that I do like to say is one of the best I've ever seen is The Martian. I think it's very good. The movie with Matt Damon. It's almost 1-to-1 with the books. There is more information in the books, but that would have been boring if you had it in the movie, I think. And it's a 2-hour movie, so... But everything you see in the movies is almost exactly 1-to-1 with the book, and the character is played so well by Matt Damon. I don't know how he does it, but he does it almost exactly like Mark Watney in the actual book. So very good job.
Cool, nice. That's also on my list of books to get through.
That's my every year I got to go through The Martian. It's so quick. It's like 8 hours long or something. I go through it like that. It's great. It's a really good story.
You know what's funny? I sorry, just kind of to segue a little bit, because I like as I go through my list of books that I want to read and or listen like as an audiobook format, I try to figure out how I'm going to, like, which format I'll do based on the length, so based on the page count or based on the audiobook length itself, right? And so some of the books, like the older like American literature books that I wanted to read, like the ones that we were supposed to read during high school and elementary school and stuff like that,
To Kill a Mockingbird and all that.
Yeah, exactly. To Kill a Mockingbird, Animal Farm, 1984, so stuff like that. The some of those books, like the page count is very low. Like the audiobook format would be also like very short. Maybe they'd be like 3 to 4 hours. Like Animal Farm was maybe like 4
That's a
hours
pretty short book
like
though.
that.
Yeah,
very short, right? Lord of the Flies wasn't that much longer. So yeah, and I just found it so interesting that I was really into reading these or listening to these books, which were so short, and then finally I started getting into audiobooks. What was the? I didn't finish it yet. I had to stop, and I'm gonna borrow it again. But The Grapes of Wrath, also by Steinbeck,
Ooh.
and it's like a 20-hour audiobook or something like that. Actually, maybe even longer. Sorry, let me just double check.
Yeah, but I find those go by fast. Audiobooks are always really fast.
I think they can be. Like, if you really have the time to, 21 hours.
As long
if
as
you have the
got
time
some kind
to
of
get
commute
through
or
it.
something in your life, or next time you're washing dishes or something like that. My fiance and I, when we were working on the garden, though, when we were gardening, we were just weeding. We were just like weeding for I think we weeded for like 4.5 hours, and I put on Harry Potter, and
Nice.
so we're just listening to Harry Potter out there as we're weeding, and it's just that's so nice. It's a great experience. I love it.
It is, yeah. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why I wasn't able to finish The Grapes of Wrath, is because that was just around the time when just before state of emergency. So people were supposed to start the social distancing.
Yeah.
And I was driving less, commuting less in all aspects, and that's when I would do the majority of my listening.
Right.
Because when I'm at home, I'll listen to some other stuff. It just depends on, like, if I'm working, I can't listen to something else that I need to pay attention to progression necessarily. So when I'm working at home, I have to listen to something where I can hear, but I can tune out, and it's okay that I miss stuff. But something like a book that I want to get through, I want to actually take in the information. So I need to do that during a time where I'm able to actually soak it up, and can't always do that at home necessarily because other stuff going on. But I will get back to it eventually. Yeah.
Okay. So my worst book to film adaptation, and this is probably more because it's just recent and I haven't really talked about this much, and I won't spend too much time talking about this, is It Chapter 2. As you might remember, I had high expectations for this because It Chapter 1 I found, which is kind of funny, but It Chapter 1 is a very good adaptation of half of the book of It. I think they did a good job. It's not all one-to-one. They do, kind of like I said with Lord of the Rings, they do change things, but for the sake of the story being a movie, they make it work, and I still feel like it tells the same story. But man, I don't know what they did to It Chapter 2, but they ruined it like crazy. It doesn't feel at all like the book. It really feels rushed, and it honestly feels like a remake of the 90s version of It. I don't know why. I don't want to ruin it at all for anybody out there. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I'm a huge fan of the books, and I just don't like it. I'm not a big fan. So I have to say, unfortunately, I think that right now I would say it's my worst adaptation from book to movie, and only for part 2, and probably just because I'm such a fan that and it's recent and it's still raw for me, so I'm still mad about that because I'm so excited for that movie, and it just in my opinion was not very good at all.
I still haven't seen It Chapter 2. I haven't read either Chapter 1 or Chapter 2. Oh no, wait, was It like the books were they also
books?
Chapter
No,
1
no, the book is just It, and it's it kind of goes.
The book is It.
The book is It, and it goes back and forth. And the way they tell, honestly, it would only really make sense as a TV show. I think it's very similar to Haunted Hill, House on Haunted Hill, or whatever. So you know how like
Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, you know how it like changes time periods like that. It's similar fashion.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
which
gotcha.
I still haven't seen House of Haunted Hill yet, by the way.
Oh please!
I know,
watch it.
I know.
Oh,
My
man.
fiance and I have talked about it. It's one of the shows we got to get to. We've got a list, and we still haven't even done it with this whole thing going on. You would think we sit there and actually get to our list, but we haven't. We just keep doing our hobby stuff and our chores. So, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm recording podcasts with you.
I know. Yeah, it's nice that we have this one thing that still remains consistent too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, that was a longer topic than I meant for it to be. We're gonna have
good.
to unfortunately skip the Wheel of Scum, but that is okay. Every now and then we gotta skip the Scum. So we're gonna move on to topic number 2, Anth0z, and that's with you.
All right, so my topic. So as I said, the whole the chain of tweets that I mentioned earlier. Well, that actually looked like a complete VR headset. That was pretty cool. So for you listeners out there, Mattbrush was just shifting his headphones. He rotated it downwards so that the headband was in front of his eyes, and it actually looks really cool.
There's an enemy in Doom Eternal. There's the Mancubus, and he's this big guy with big cannons on his arms. And then there's the I can't remember what his name is, but he's the cyber. That's it. He's the cyber Mancubus, and it looks like he's got a VR headset on because he's got this like thing or visor over his eyes. He's like So it's kind of funny.
Is Mancubus supposed to be a mashup of man and succubus?
I don't know. I think it's something from D&D, to be honest. The guys who made Doom, they love D&D, so I think a lot of the names kind of come from that. Like the Kako Demon. I think Kako Demon has something to do with D&D as well.
Okay, what is it? I want to see what a Mancubus looks like.
Oh, he's so funny.
Oh, that totally does not look like a mashup of a man and a succubus. You know what a succubus is, right?
Succubus? No, I don't know.
It's like a little demon, like a vampire demon kind of spawn from hell. I'm not really sure how else to explain it, but that's pretty much what it is. I think I only know of it because of Diablo, but anywho, okay. So while you're looking stuff up, I'm just gonna go to my topic. So like I was saying, it has to do with the tweets that I mentioned earlier about now that we are living life a little bit differently, you know, people working from home, businesses not being open. We're spending our time differently these days. So this topic came up in my head while I was driving the other day because I just noticed that what would normally be rush hour, it was
Russian hour.
It was just like, it was so peaceful. It was like the roads were nice and empty. It was sunny. I wasn't stressed trying to get back home. It was such a nice ride, and I want to be able to go out and drive more often now, only because the roads are so empty. It just feels almost so liberating. I think, well, it also feels liberating because, you know, you're stuck at home a lot, and then you finally get a chance to go outside for whatever reason, like a grocery run or something.
Right.
But anyway, so the idea came to me that I'm learning. I began learning that in the midst of all this, there are certain things in life that I used to do all the time that, surprisingly enough, I can live without at this point. Like, I'm fine to live without, maybe because I'm forced into it. But I feel like it's making my life a bit more simple, and I'm actually enjoying that aspect of it. Mind you, of course, I wish I could be seeing like friends and family in person. That's probably the main issue I have with this whole thing is I can't actually be with the people that I want to be with.
Yeah.
At least not in the ways that I could normally be. But I'm not going crazy. I'm coping with the
That's
time.
the first thing that a crazy person says.
I'm not crazy. I'm normal. Anyway, so the topic really is like, during this time, what has been, okay, maybe not quarantine because not everybody's quarantined, but during this time, you know, state of emergency, lockdown, staying at home more, what has this time taught you, or like what things have you learned? And that could be, what have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about the people you live with, your partners, or your friends or your family, like people who are also abiding by these same things? What have you learned about government, society, whatever you can think of during this time? Like, what have you observed that's something that it's kind of you're kind of retaining, and maybe you never would have thought about before? So I'll just start us off for one, and this is kind of a simple thing, but I mentioned before, at 7:00 every night, when the health worker shifts rotate, people in Vancouver, or maybe not just Vancouver, but at least here in Vancouver, people are getting on their balconies or they're going outside. VPD, like the Vancouver Police Department, they're doing their kind of like they're doing their rounds basically, where everybody is like cheering. Vancouver police cruisers, like the sirens are running, and it's all to support the health workers that are doing their job like relentless, like every day, and rotating like back to back, really trying to help out with the situation, trying to keep it under control. So what I've learned that I'm really impressed with, that I never would have imagined Vancouver to be unified in this way. And I don't know if it's because there wasn't an opportunity or because I was just never aware, but it's one thing that I've learned about the people of Vancouver, that there can be one unifying concept, and it is for the sake of supporting those who are doing a good job and doing something for the sake of other people. So I'm really impressed by that. I think it's really cool, and I'm really thankful that we have all these people that are willing to put in their time to do this. I mean, they could be faking it, like they don't want to. I'm sure there's some way around it, like if they could get out of their duty to help people as health workers, but I don't know, like for those who are committed to it and doing their job, sticking to it, I don't know, I thank you. Applaud them. So yeah, so that's one thing that I've learned about during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree on those same kind of lines. I feel like I never realized that something like this would bring everyone together with a sense of camaraderie. Here in my little town on the island, it's kind of funny because it's something like this. It evens the playing field. So no matter what is going on in life, no matter who the person is next to you, you know they're also going through the exact same thing because it's universal. So. Yeah. Small thing, my fiance and I will go for a walk, and now when someone walks by and we say hi or something like that, and you go like hello, and they go like hello, or like good morning. There's just this like small sense, this like understanding that the two of you have now. It's like no matter what, no matter who that person is, anything about them, I don't know, but they're also going through this. So it's like the smallest thing, but you just feel like you're on the same team because of that, So I mean, it's funny. People say this all the time when a disaster happens. That's when a community really gets together. But you're starting to feel it, even though this isn't necessarily a disaster. It's just something we're all trying to struggle with together. But since it's universally true to all of us, it's applied to all of us. Yeah, we have that team, that unite kind of feel. And so I like that. I was shocked that I felt it so early on, and that I continue to feel it as we go about our days. But it is just an interesting, weird thing. I am shocked as well with the isolation a lot of people feel. I didn't expect so many people to feel like to get stir crazy or to feel like they didn't have much social stuff going on in their lives. Because I felt like the internet's such a big thing and we all communicate so much on the internet that I didn't think it was going to be all that big of a deal. I was quite ignorant in that. I didn't realize that it was going to hit a lot of people hard, and it is. Lots of people. I've never had so many people reach out to me, and I've never reached out to so many people in the last month or so. There's just a lot of communication going along. That I didn't realize I need, and also I'm willing to give. Both those things I didn't really know were as true as they are. So I think that's been interesting too. There's been a lot of Skype calls, and it's funny to see things like Zoom become the most downloaded app right now and stuff like that. It's just interesting, but it makes a lot of sense. It definitely does, but it's interesting to see it happen. You think these things might be true, but once they happen and they are true, you're kind of like, oh wow, it's an interesting fact, I guess.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's cool. I like I like that you mentioned the whole communication aspect, because during this time that's the one thing that we're lacking the most, is being able to communicate in the ways that we used to. So now we have to find other ways to do it, and
for sure,
we have all these methods at our disposal, most of which we've always had, but now we're just utilizing more, and more so because that's just the best way that we can be with other people at this time, or at least communicate with them, or connect with other people, I should say. One thing that I've noticed during this time, or one thing that I've learned, is my wife is more of a gamer than I really thought. So we actually got Animal Crossing a little bit over a week ago, for the Nintendo Switch. New Horizons. So I was on the fence about getting it. It didn't. I think I mentioned before, I was never really into playing Sims games, and I wasn't too intrigued with it. I think because I've always been more into live action, not live action, but action games, fast pace, so first person shooters, or RPGs, stuff like League of Legends, so MOBAs, and Sims games just never really appealed to me. Have a whole bunch of friends that have been playing it too since it came out, and there was maybe a little bit of FOMO. I thought, okay, cool. Well, they're all playing it. Maybe it would be fun to play it just to play with them.
Right.
But it wasn't necessarily enough for me to want to spend $80 buying the game. And then, my wife, I can't remember how it started. I think because we had some other, maybe she also knew of some other friends, or I showed her videos or pictures of how it was, and she's like, oh, that's cute. And so, and she was kind of getting interested.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, well, if she's interested, if she's willing to try out a game, then I don't mind trying it. I'd like to try it out and play with her, and that would be a cool venture for us to do. That we start playing a game together.
It's also very
little did I.
It's a very sorry. I don't want to take over your story in any way. So
that's okay.
Cut me off at any time here, but it's also a very timely game for what's going on in the world right now. That game makes a lot of sense. So
I think it does in a way, because in this game, you're really just you can be on your own island, and just making your own way through life and whatever, but you meet other NPCs, non-playable characters in the game, and they can come to your island and visit you, and you can find other ways to thrive But also you can have the online aspect where you go to like friends that you know in real life, like go to their islands, not their real life islands, but go to their Animal Crossing islands. So yeah, you can connect with them online as well. They can come to your island too, and yeah, there's that crossplay there. But so in the midst of this, little did I know that my wife would end up playing probably about 10 times more than I have been playing. So wow. I started off the game. I started it just so that I could just kind of get the ball rolling, and then that way my wife could then play it, and like things would kind of be in place, so then she could just take over, and then we can like alternate, right?
Yeah.
And then we did that a little bit, and then there's also an aspect where you can play at the same time. It's just kind of like awkward mechanics because the camera mainly follows the primary user.
Oh yeah.
But if you have a secondary user, it'll try to stretch out a little bit so you can catch both of them, but then there's a limit, and then that secondary user will eventually go out of screen, and if they go too far away from the primary character, they'll just like pop back, like just magically appear next to the primary character.
Okay.
So there's limitations, but anyway, so she was getting really into it, and she would play. I mean, during the spring break time, because she was off work, she was playing like 3 to 4 hours a day, and I was so amazed of how focused she was in the game. And she's not just like getting lost in it, but she's actually like she's thinking clearly in the game, like she's strategizing, she's figuring out like what's the best way, how can we be efficient with this, and I'm just like so amazed, like whoa, this is so cool. Like I've never known her to want to like to invest this amount of like time and energy into a game. So one thing I learned, and it's cool, I really like it.
I strongly think that there's nobody out there in the world that would hate every single game, you know. Like that's why I think that the term gamer doesn't actually make any sense, and I find it kind of like cringeworthy. It's not like a real thing, because like there's no movieers, you know. There's nobody who's just like, we're not all movieers, because we all find a certain movie that we like, right? So everybody has a movie that they like and or a book that they like, and games are the exact same way. So every single person out there in this world, there is a game that speaks to you, and mostly just to you. And and when you find it, it's magical. So I feel like she must be into a bit more of that simulation style, maybe even more like the monetary style. If she's into like collecting items and selling them and trying to get the best profit for that, then she might get into more that the money kind of tycoon-esque games. You never know, that might be something she's into. But it's just it's just fun. I mean, I used to sell games for a living, so I do just love to see somebody who just loves something, whatever it is. If they found their style or their genre, I just love that. It gets really fun.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's like finding a new part, or like revealing a new part of you that you had never really encountered because you just didn't have the means to it.
Yeah, when my fiance was watching me play Minecraft back when we like first met, I was like really into Minecraft. I'd show her what I liked about it and stuff, and I think she found it pretty interesting at first. Like I don't think there was a time when she thought it was boring, but I think she found it pretty interesting. But once she was playing like a LAN game with me, a local area network game with me, and she would connect into my world and then start building, that's when she got into it. And still to this day, if we ever play a game of Minecraft, it's always me doing the things I like to do, which is normally the redstone mechanics or collecting resources. Yeah. And it's always her building. She's always building. But I've almost become like, it's like symbiotic. I almost need her now because I hate building now. Like I don't really want to build and design and make everything all look all nice. I just want to get all the stuff I need, right? And she's so good at the design and the building stuff that I'm like expecting that. So, but the end of it, she's built something amazing, and I'm just like coming and giving all the resources for it all. So it becomes just really, really nice, and I think it just speaks volumes to what you like and who you are and all that kind of stuff. Video games are an expression. They're an art form. So it's fun to see.
That's true. Yeah. Cool. Yeah,
that's really cool. I like that. Very, very nice. Very wholesome.
I'm glad you like that.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying Animal Crossing. That's very cool. And in this world right now where everything is saying like, don't have a sense of community, stay home, stay isolated, blah blah blah. I think it's really fun to have something like Animal Crossing where you can go into that world where you're literally building a sense of community, and the whole game is about how good of a community you can build. So I think it's great for people to have that right now because it's virtualizing a part of their life that they can't actually enjoy. So
yeah. I mean, to some extent, like I wouldn't say that government's saying like don't be with your community or don't
it's not so like forced or direct. But it seems like that, right?
Take your be cautionary with like how you're interacting with people and,
But nobody's going to a charitable event right now or a soup kitchen to
No,
get this stuff going. So, I mean, it is just kind of how it is. You're supposed to stay isolated into your own people.
Yeah. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but did I talk about how there was, like, I saw a video of somebody who was instructing an aerobics class, like, from his balcony.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So it's, he's on some sort of, like, apartment building balcony, and you can see that he's leading people, like, at the on the balconies across from his building. So people are on their balconies, and they've got, like, their yoga mats on the balcony or whatever, and they're doing they're following whatever the instructor's doing.
Oh, that's cool.
So, which I think is kind of cool. It's going in a different way. It's like I never would have expected to see that kind of interaction with people, where people would just get on their balconies and do something together, even if, like, they don't know each other, right? Like, it's different from going to a studio or going to some sort of aerobics studio where, sure, they're a bunch of strangers, but you're all committing to the same thing by going to the studio, paying for the membership there, using their facilities, being next to each other, and, like, feeling each other's sweat. It's like this whole package thing. And I think it's just something that you get mentally prepped for when you're going to go work out anywhere but your home. So now these people are doing it from their home, like, from the comfort of their own balcony. Outside, like, it's covered, but at least, like, you're still technically committing with all these other people who are just, like, across the street, and stuff like that, it's really cool. Yeah.
I think the reason why some of this stuff I can't understand or don't understand yet, I think it's because the way my lifestyle is, it hasn't actually changed all that much from coronavirus. The biggest thing that's changed is maybe there's been some roads that are closed right now, and, like, things like some of the stores are closed. But even grocery shopping, we've been able to go to the grocery store totally fine, so that's been good. There's a lineup before you go in, but the lineup goes by really fast. Then you go in and you can get your stuff done pretty quick. Other than that, though, like, nothing has really changed in my life. I'm still driving to work for most days. There are some remoting from home days, but I'm still driving to work most days. And so it's like, for me, when I hear stories like that, my mind is like, who has the time? Like, because for me, I'm still working like crazy hours throughout the week. So, so it's, some of this stuff is just my ignorance, because I really don't understand. But, like, if I lost my job tomorrow, which could happen, I mean, this could happen to anybody right now in this day and age, but if I lost my job tomorrow, maybe I would understand these stories a little bit more and be like, okay, I get it. Like, now everybody's got all this time on their hands. For me, though, it's still, like, if anything, like I said, my job's been more busy because of IT work. So, it's like, I come home from work and I'm tired. Like, if some guy's doing yoga out on the balcony, I'd be like the guy yelling at him, being like, go to bed.
It's 8 o'clock, go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Yes, there's been a lot of change, obviously, with coronavirus, but I think it's still something that maybe I don't totally understand yet. Maybe I'm still not there, but I'm getting there. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Well, I think different lifestyles is going to call for different mentalities about it, or different.
The city would be a major difference. I could definitely understand how being inside of a city, you would see this stuff way more. You're reminded of it a lot more.
Yeah.
For me, in, like, a neighborhood community, though, like, it's not something I'm reminded of all that much. It's just when, like, our mall here is closed, right? Like, but I'm not at the mall, so, like, so I wouldn't really know, right? But like,
I think our malls are all open, but it's just majority of the stores are closed. Like, if there are grocery stores in the malls, then those would be open.
That makes sense.
Some other whatever essential services, I guess, are there. But
and that's the thing. So I worked for an essential service. So for me, it's almost business as usual when going to work.
Yeah.
There are some changes, but it's almost business as usual, which makes it so my lifestyle, my social style, all that stuff is all pretty much the same. I haven't hung out with friends in person, though. That is different. So I used to go to, like, the bar or something like that. I'd go and hang out with some friends, go take some buddies out to the pub or something, go get a drink and talk about life. Church on Sundays as well. So all of that's been a little bit different, of course. But the most average things in my life have stayed the same. So
yeah, and so that's kind of what I was trying to get at in the beginning of this, is that like I've realized, like, how much I can live without a lot of the things that I used to do in majority of my time, because and that being said, I'm only referring to I guess how do I say this, but whatever enables us to get together with people. So, like, going to a restaurant with people, like, to hang out with people, or going to a bar to hang out with people, or going to, like, a cafe, or maybe something that doesn't require food or consumption.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, going to if an arcade were slower and going to an arcade, like sure you're going to play games, but you're,
bowling
you're
alley.
going with people. You're sure bowling alley. I mean, you're doing it to be with people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm realizing now, like I don't have to have all these things in order to enjoy my time with people necessarily. Like
Yeah.
I would want to be with people, but I don't need to be doing all these things that were always available to me. It's just something that I've, at least, and I'll say it again, that it could be that I'm just forced into this situation now because sure everything's closed and this is just how we're supposed to be. But at the same time, I'm not going crazy. I say again, I'm not going crazy. So jokes on you, but anyway, or jokes on you. I'm going crazy.
It's all good.
Yeah. So anyway, some of those things. That's what I've learned.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
it's a interesting, wacky world we live in at this moment. But
Yeah.
again, I hope we look back on these days going, oh yeah, that was the coronavirus time. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Oh wow. I can't even picture being in the future thinking
I know.
back to this moment.
I know. I do
wow.
think it won't be that long from now. Like I honestly think September we might be looking back at these months going like, oh yeah, I forgot that back then the malls were closed at that time. You know, I hope that we're saying those kinds of things. But
Yeah. But I feel like that's a long time from now to have to say like by September we'll be looking back.
oh, I don't
'Cause,
know.
like,
For me, time is so quick these days, man. Like I'm already thinking
yeah.
of Christmas.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like I blink and the month is already gone. Like we're in April, man. Like didn't we just do New Year's? Like,
Actually, like this first week of April has gone by really fast. I
Yeah.
feel like yesterday was April 1st, so that's really weird.
yeah, it is crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right. Well, without further ado, Anth0z, it's been a long episode.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
I'd like to ask you one simple question.
I'll do my best.
Where can the audience find you?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at ANTH0Z1.
And that was very well done. If you want to find me on
Thank you.
Twitter, you can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on Twitter. If you want to find me on YouTube, you can also find me at Mattbrush Gaming. You can also find this podcast in video format if you'd like to watch it with your eyeballs.
Great.
But if you want to hear it with your earballs, you can totally
Yes.
go to your favorite podcasting platform and listen there.
Do it.
We're probably available at the Scumm Bar Podcast on any of your favorite podcasting platforms. I don't really
Likely.
know. Just give it a try. Type in the Scumm Bar Podcast and see if we're there. Then click subscribe. Then click a star or a like or a thumbs up or whatever you want. And then give us a comment that says, you guys rock!
Yeah, if there's a button that said you guys rock, click that too.
Woo! If you want to send us, your scientific method, then send it to us at thescumbarpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to read it and see.
If you have footage of a double rainbow, send it to us too.
That would be great too. I'd love to know more about this double rainbow.
That'd be great.
Maybe we'll read it on air and let you guys know what we think about your double rainbow scientific method.
We'll describe all the colors of it.
I think we've come to the point, and I know that Anth0z has had a lot of time on his hands because of coronavirus, so he's spent a long time creating a eulogy for you guys. So here, he's going to read it out for you now.
Who's the eulogy for?
It's up to you, man. All you told me was it was a eulogy.
I remember the days where nothing was in question and everything was just purely let's do it. We've come to a time where questions have gone in a different direction and it's more about what is it that we can do? What could we do before? What are we gonna be able to do in the future? And these questions are just going to make everybody think differently. But that's okay. Because together we're thinking differently. And it just means that it's one more way that we can unify. We're all in this together. Hashtag High School Musical 3. We're all in this together.
It's about having and giving.
And sharing and receiving.
Sharing and receiving, yeah. All right, everybody, have a great night.
Okay, bye!
Rest it out.